Staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive. The Sixers are staying alive, ladies and gentlemen. You have found an edition of the Cheesesteaks and Takes podcast show. I am host Colby Marshall here after the Sixers win Game 5 against the Boston Celtics. Make the series 3-2 going back to Philly. Joel Embiid, huge night for the big fella. I did not expect the Sixers to win this game. I will not lie. I expected them to play better. I think my father, I think myself on our last episode, we talked about how we did expect the Sixers to look better offensively in Joel Embiid's second game back from having surgery 2 weeks ago. And they did. They looked better. Boston went up double digits multiple times throughout this game, and they kept fighting. I think it was at the 7-minute mark in the third quarter where they just got into Boston. Everybody on that Celtics offense they felt the defensive pressure from the Sixers. We got in their jerseys in those last 20 minutes of the game, and that's what allowed us to stay in the game and then pull away in the fourth quarter. It was our defensive intensity, the rebounding. Tyrese Maxey grabbing 10 rebounds in this game to go along with his 25 points, played a perfect second fiddle to Joel Embiid in this game. And let's talk about the big fella. Let's talk about the performance that Joel Embiid put out on both ends of the court in this game. Right? He started off hot in his first game back in game 4. This game, it was the polar opposite. He was cold as could be, settling for a lot of jump shots. I think started 0 for 3 from three-point land, but he didn't stop shooting. He stayed aggressive. And, man, when you saw him just punish Vucevic down there in the post time and time again in that third quarter when they were down 6, he just went to work. It was vintage Joel Embiid. The announcer said it best. Vintage Joel Embiid we saw in that third quarter. And, man, was it just a delight to see. I mean, on both ends too. I think that a lot of people, especially Celtics fans, could say that when they see Joel Embiid out there on the court, it's like, oh, I'm happy this guy's out there. We're going to pick him apart on the defensive end. We're going to put him in a lot of actions. He's going to be in drop coverage. He's not as athletic. He's not going to be able to move his feet and contend shots at the rim. And he did that a lot better today. I mean, granted, Boston, they would get into the lane and, Pritchard at times. Pritchard did go at him once in the first half, but there were a lot of occasions where they got into the lane and they didn't challenge Embiid. But just his presence being there made them think twice. And I think that is a part of the value that Joel Embiid brings to the court, that you'll have to think twice about going up there when you're in the paint, going up for a layup when he's there. But aside from that, I think on a lot of the ball screens today, Joel Embiid showed great athleticism, moving his feet, staying in front of guys, making it tough on guys like Jaylen Brown, contesting their jump shots, like finishing defensive plays all the way through was what really impressed me the most about Embiid tonight. I did not expect to see that out of him, especially 2 games after playing his first game of these playoffs, his first game in 2 weeks. So that was really cool to see. And offensively, I mean, it was vintage Embiid almost we saw right in that second half, punishing Vooch in the post, getting to his mid-range fadeaway. He hit that big one against Keita in the fourth quarter to go up 4. And, man, what a treat it was to see him have that performance in Boston when you just thought this series was over. You thought there was no chance the Sixers were going to come back. And here we are going to a Game 6 back in Philly. And neither team has had success at home so that much in this series. The Sixers haven't won a home game at all. Boston did win Game 1. But, man, the opportunity that this team now has with Joel Embiid entering his 3rd game in the playoffs on Thursday, you just feel a little bit more optimistic about this team, I think, if you're a Sixers fan. That place is going to be rocking. The crowd's going to be ready to go. And it's just amazing they have now put themselves in this position. I want to talk about the secondary players in this game. Obviously, Joel Embiid took the spotlight with his 33 points. Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese Maxey, he's been a roller coaster this series. Obviously, he's not 100%, right? He's still dealing with that finger issue. But Maxey, he hit big shots tonight when we needed them. Think about the deep three off the pass from Embiid to cut the lead to 1 when they were down 4. That was a deep, deep three. And that was a point in time when Maxey did not have it going from 3 at all. He had no business really taking that shot, but had the confidence to do so. And that's what you will always 100% expect from Maxey, is for him to have that confidence. He'll always have that confidence to take that next shot, no matter how bad the other shots miss. He will always be ready to step up and take that next shot. And we needed that 3 at that point in the game. He, hasn't gotten to his floater as much as I'd like to see him get in this series, and that could be due to his finger, but he did get a couple of he had a drive in the first half where he got to his floater, and obviously towards the end of the game was able to get in the lane and had that step back against Derek White that kind of iced it to put him up 12. But just aside from his scoring, getting 10 rebounds in this game was big. They've been a team, obviously, they've gotten crushed on the glass all series, and Tyrese Maxey took it upon himself, a guy who, could have shown more hustle getting rebounds in the series, especially the last game and on the defensive end as a whole. He took it upon himself to say, I'm going to get these balls. I'm going to go grab these rebounds. And he led the team in rebounds tonight. The team had 47 rebounds in total. Boston had 49, and he had 10 of them. So big props to Maxey for stepping up on the glass, for sticking with his shot and dropping 25 points. He played 43 minutes tonight. And Quentin Grimes, the most unexpected hero for the Sixers tonight, was Quentin Grimes. I mean, 24 points, not 24 points. What did he drop? Quentin Grimes, he had 18 points, 4 of 7 from 3. He was humongous. And it seemed like after every shot he hit, he was looking at the bench, looking at Nick Nurse like, hey, Kelly Oubre right now over me. Like, I should be on this court. He did not obviously want to come out of that game, and Sixers were right to keep him in that second half. He had it going, and they rode the hot hand. And he also, right, defensively, like you think about that sequence with Jaylen Brown picking him up, forcing that ball into the backcourt and then staying with, like, that gave me goosebumps seeing Quentin Grimes put in that effort on the defensive end on Jaylen Brown at that point in the game. Like, he had his fingerprints all over this game, and that's what we needed. I mean, this was another game where the Celtics bench looked like they were going to run away with it. They had 19 bench points in that first half, similar to game 4, and we had 0, a big 0, up until Quentin Grimes just caught fire and was able to give us a big boost on offense and on defense. And you do wonder what Nick Nurse might do in game 6. Is he going to roll with Quentin Grimes in that starting lineup with the way Kelly Oubre, right, has been struggling a little bit, shooting the ball, even defensively? He is at the helm of a lot of the breakdowns the Sixers have defensively because of his at times, he can get fatigued, and he's obviously not as athletic as he once was. But he did have some good possessions on Jaylen Brown, forced him to miss shots. But he is at the helm of a lot of the breakdowns the Sixers do have when they get to overhelping. And so you do wonder if Kelly maybe will have a short leash, if anything, in game 6. And if not, will you see Grimes get the nod? I mean, I do like the idea of Kelly coming off of the bench with his energy. I do also like the idea of keeping the things the way that they are and keeping Grimes, having him come off the bench with his energy. Will Dominic Barlow see more action? We know how good he can be on the glass for the Sixers. But you do wonder, Quentin Grimes, with this performance, if he does take a step into that starting lineup. VJ Edgecombe, he ended up 3 for 6 from 3, 3 for 8 from the field, 10 points. He helped out on the glass a lot too. Actually had a big offensive rebound for the Sixers. A couple of offensive rebounds VJ might have had, but wasn't the scoring that we've wanted to see. I actually thought VJ was going to come out really aggressive in this game. Hearing Cooper Flag, getting the Rookie of the Year award today, you thought with VJ struggling, he's going to kind of make a statement in this game. And, he was a +9. He was there on defense. He helped out on the glass. And he hit some big shots. He did hit some of those threes were big. When they were making the run, they were down 4, and VJ hit that big 3 to cut it to 1. That was huge. So I definitely got to give VJ props. He didn't shoot a whole lot. His volume was down, but he made the most of the majority of his attempts. So props to VJ for sticking with it and staying clutch. That's what we've seen from VJ all year, is that clutch factor, the ability to not be afraid to step up and take those big shots. So props to VJ for staying with it. And man, I mean, Paul George throughout, just solid. Big reason the Sixers got off to that big start, going up 8-2. He was 4 of 9 from 3 and was just a threat the entire game. Had 9 rebounds to go along with his 16 points, 7 assists as well. So just an all-around great game. 2 steals as well for Paul George. He's been, I did not expect him to play this well in the playoffs. He has been awesome for the Sixers in the playoffs. If there's anything you can take away from this series, no matter how it ends, I think you could say that you were pleased with how Paul George showed up in this series against the Celtics. And he continued it tonight, 6 of 13 from the field. And we needed it. We needed his presence, his shot-making ability, his ability to draw mismatches, to cause guys to help. He was able to, find the open man. That causes the Sixers to get an open shot elsewhere. So Paul George just in 43 minutes as well. Man, you can't say enough good things, I think, in this series about Paul George. And the Sixers are going into a game 6. I've never seen the Sixers win. I've seen the Sixers win one game 6 in my life. That was the Drew Holiday, Andre Iguodala squad that went into Boston, or they were home against Boston. Lou Williams, I think he had like a 2-handed alley dunk in that game. And they won game 6 and then would lose game 7 in the Garden. That was the Rajon Rondo 3-point barrage in the 4th quarter that year. That just crushed my heart. I thought they were definitely going to win that series. I love that team. That was the only time I've seen the Sixers win game 6, right? We had them on the ropes 2-3 years ago, up 3-2. In that 4th quarter, we all know what happened. Jason Tatum goes on his little Sixers killing spree when he hit all those dagger threes to win game 6 and force that game 7 where they just demolished us. I think that was on Mother's Day a couple of years ago. So yeah, it's been one game 6 that I've seen the Sixers win. Hopefully they can get another one this Thursday and force a game 7. I can't even believe we're talking about this right now. With the way they at halftime, I mean, I know they were only down 7 in this game at the half, but it just seemed like Boston, and the way the 3rd quarter started, it seemed like they were just going to pull away. Sixers didn't have the energy. They didn't have all the things Nick Nurse talked about after game 4, the toughness, the energy, the want to play defense and to rebound. It just didn't seem like they were going to have it at all tonight. And even though they were only down 7, it just didn't look good. And I don't know, those last 20 minutes of the game, they dug in. They got into the Celtics jerseys. They really got into the Celtics jerseys, and they changed that game. And, man, I'm just so proud of those guys. I do wonder why Nick Nurse still goes to Andre Drummond before Adem Bona. But, yeah, it's still something that has me scratching my head. They lucked out. Vucevic missed a couple of open threes in that first half when Drummond came into the game. A little part in that game, Boston could have really went up by a lot more than they were if Vuce hits those open threes that Drummond was allowing. But Drummond ended up putting in a decent performance with his 7 minutes. He hit that big corner 3 had 5 points, 4 rebounds. Just defensively, he gives up still a little bit too much for my liking. I'd love to see a Dembona in there, but Nick Nurse seems like he's just gonna roll with Andre Drummond. That's just gonna be how they either get over this hump or die on this hill. He's gonna roll with Andre Drummond regardless. Justin Edwards didn't get any playing time, not too surprisingly, with his struggles lately in the playoffs. And Boston, I mean, 39 threes. You didn't really expect that. You expect them to put up more threes for sure. I thought that the Sixers did a good job defensively, like I said, in the second half. Jason Tatum, he 16 rebounds. He was a monster on the glass. But there are just a lot of hero shots from Jason Tatum tonight. A lot of times where he just took some, I thought, bad threes, quick threes, where he really just, against these Sixers, I think Boston can get a lot that, I said in the first half or in the second half, Jaylen Brown got into the lane and just pulled up around the free throw line. Like, they can get that shot whenever they want. And so I'm sure when Jason Tatum pulls up from like 30, 35 feet, it has a lot of Celtics fans scratching their heads. It's like, why are you taking this shot right now when you know you can get a much better look, whether you're Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown? But Jason Tatum, we've seen him hit big shots like that before, and he is your guy. So I guess you do live and die with what he does. Peyton Pritchard, pretty quiet today compared to last game. 1 of 5 from 3-point range, only 12 points. And not a vintage bench game from the Celtics. They started hot, with Vucevic early on and Peyton Pritchard as well, but kind of phased out towards the end of the game. Derek White, 6 points, 2 of 8 from the field. Jaylen Brown, 9 of 23 for his 22 points. I thought that the likes of Paul George, even Kelly Oubre out there in there, Quentin Grimes, they all did a really nice job. Even Tyrese Maxey towards the end of that fourth quarter got some big stops on Jaylen Brown. Sam Hauser, pretty quiet, 3 of 7, 2 of 5 from 3. Keita, big on the glass, 14 rebounds. Yeah, the Celtics, they just didn't, they didn't look like a championship team tonight, right? Championship teams, when you have a team like the Sixers on the ropes, up at halftime, elimination game, they step on their throats. And the Celtics didn't do that. They just didn't step on the Sixers' throats, and they allowed the Sixers to stay in the game. And give credit to Philly for taking advantage of the Celtics, giving them a second life. Man, what a game. What a game. Hopefully this is going to be a game we can look back on as Sixers fans and say, yeah, that was the game that turned the series. That was the Embiid game. That was one of the best game 5s against Boston that we'll remember in the Garden, one of the best wins in the TD Garden that we'll remember. Hopefully it's not what we've seen in years past is, just another sour memory of a series, or not a sour memory, but another good memory from a sour series that ended with Boston winning. Jason Tatum, we all know what he does in game 6s and game 7s. It's just like, why do they keep doing this to us? Why? But we're here. We are here, and I believe again in the Sixers going into game 6 in Philly. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow our podcast on social media. Let us know what you think. We'll see if we have anybody in here trying to. I know I had a buddy, Dave, who might be joining us, but I don't see him yet. I mean, what else to talk about from this game? It was, like I said, could go down as an instant classic for the Sixers if all goes right for the rest of the series. Man, Joel Embiid. What a performance. Make sure you guys stay tuned for more content from Cheesesteaks and Takes. Make sure you guys follow us, like I said, on social media, Cheesesteaks and Takes. Let us know what you think. We will be back. My father, my uncle Chuck, my cousins Noah and Drew to recap Game 6 in Philly, talk more about the NBA playoffs and such. With that said, I'm going to get off here. Cut this episode a little short. Keep it 20 minutes solid. Go Sixers, let's get it. Sixers win 113-97 over the Celtics in game 5. They forced a game 6. Are you going to be there in Philly? I hope so. Let's make some noise. Peace out, guys. Have a good night.